What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Friday, January 12th, 2024, and I have some breaking news to share with you guys. Right now, it is 10:54 p.m. Eastern Time here in the United States, and we have some major breaking news coming in tonight. So, apparently, the U.S. conducted another operation in Yemen, and I want to read to you the official statement from U.S. Central Command at 3:45 a.m. Yemen time on January 13th. U.S. forces conducted another operation against a Houthi radar site in Yemen. This operation was conducted by the USS Carney using Tomahawk land attack missiles and was a follow on action on a specific military target associated with the operation taken on January the 12th, designed to degrade the Houthis' ability to attack maritime vessels, including commercial vessels. So, another operation tonight in Yemen, guys, and I actually don't believe this official statement. They're saying that it was just the USS Carney involved and they only hit one radar, but from various sources in Yemen, they were saying that there were aircraft flying over the capital tonight in Yemen, in Sana'a, and there were multiple explosions reported. Okay, so I don't believe that it was just, one singular missile that they launched. This was a pretty serious operation again tonight, not as serious as last night. Last night we had the US and the UK involved. Tonight it was just the US. Apparently they targeted the Al Dalami Air Force Base. Okay, they targeted a radar and air defense site, apparently. Okay, so another operation tonight in Yemen. Wanted to share that with you. We also have some concerning information coming out of the Middle East. Apparently, two U.S. Navy sailors are missing off the coast of Somalia. This is being reported by U.S. Central Command. On the evening of January 11th, two U.S. Navy sailors were reported missing at sea while conducting operations off the coast of Somalia. Search and rescue operations are currently ongoing to locate the two sailors. For operational security purposes, we will not release additional information until the personnel recovery operation is complete. Out of respect for the families affected, we will not release further information on the missing personnel. At this time, the sailors were forward deployed to the U.S. Fifth Fleet area of operations, supporting a wide variety of missions. So let's pray for these two sailors and pray for their families, guys. And we do have a NOTAM, a notice to airmen, that is currently up over the Bab al Mandeb Strait. It says here, due to the current vague situation at the Red Sea, safety measures are required to be established to avoid the adverse consequences of such situation. Therefore, a temporary restricted area will be established to ensure the safety of civil aircraft operating in this area. A temporary restricted area designated OYR60 is established in the area bounded by the lines. So they set up a temporary restricted area in the Bab al Mandeb Strait here. Okay, there's a NOTAM up. And earlier today, the Houthi rebels fired a missile at a ship, which people are now saying was a Russian ship. We don't know for sure if that's true or not, but apparently they fired a missile at a Russian ship. And whether it was Russian or American or alien, it doesn't matter. The intent was there. Okay, there were some people out there trying to minimize this and saying, it's not a big deal. It was just a Russian ship that they fired at. It doesn't matter. The Houthis didn't know it was a Russian ship, if that's even true. Okay, so that could have easily been an American ship. It could have been an Indian ship, whatever. Okay, and I suspect that's why we launched another operation tonight in Yemen, is to respond to this. But according to this, the missile landed 400 to 500 meters away from the vessel and was followed by three small craft. Okay. So the situation is not getting any better, guys. Okay. It's continuing to escalate. We currently have a U.S. nuclear war command and control plane up in the air somewhere off the coast of California. It was doing loops over here off the coast of San Francisco earlier, and it's still out here somewhere in the Pacific, okay? And here we have a confession from one of the Iranian proxies in Iraq saying that they targeted a U.S. base in Iraq. There were actually two bases targeted today. There was one base in the eastern Syria region, and then there was one in Iraq that was targeted, U.S. bases. So two U.S. bases targeted by Iranian proxies. Here's the official statement that was put out by the U.S. Department of Defense last night after the first operation on Yemen. Okay, and here's the statement from the White House. Lloyd Austin, the Secretary of Defense, and Biden basically threatened the Houthis here, saying that they will take further measures if necessary. So get prepared, guys. Okay, things are really escalating around the world. And apparently, the American delegate to the United Nations said today that the strikes in Yemen came after it was proven that non-military options are not sufficient to deter the threat. Our attacks against the Houthis are part of our exercise of our right to self-defense. The strikes on Yemen were consistent with international law. Okay, so America defending itself at the UN. This is after Russia claimed that this was a violation of the UN Charter, and they were demanding a UN Security Council meeting, which is funny because Russia can literally invade Ukraine and shell it with thousands and thousands of rockets and missiles. But that's not a violation of international law, or that's not a violation of the UN Charter. But the U.S. fires maybe 100 or 200 Tomahawk missiles at some terrorists that are threatening international shipping lanes. Then suddenly it's a big deal. Okay, it's funny how that works. And the British defense minister said today that the Iranian regime must ask the Houthis to stop because our patience is running out. Wow, guys. So all roads lead to Iran. I'm telling you guys, the U.S. is going to launch a massive strike on Iran this year, I think, potentially next year. But time is running out because Iran has tripled the rate of production of their enriched uranium. Okay, they've tripled the production of enriched uranium on a monthly basis in Iran. So they're speeding up their nuclear program. They want to get these nuclear weapons as soon as possible while Biden is still in office because they feel that Biden is their best chance because they know Biden's a little bit weaker than, say, Trump or somebody else. So they're tripling their enriched uranium production. That's 100% fact. It's not speculation. You can look it up. Okay, so Congress and multiple high-ranking officials here in the U.S. have said repeatedly they will not allow Iran to get nuclear weapons. Okay, so I think it's coming, guys. I think we're going to see a massive operation on Iran to demilitarize them and denuclearize them. It would be something that we probably haven't seen in our lifetime. This would be bigger than shock and awe in Iraq. This would be bigger than Desert Storm. This would probably be one of the biggest air and missile attacks probably since the Second World War, because Iran is a massive country. They have caves, they have bunkers, they have a large territory, and we would have to hit them hard with potentially even low-yield nuclear weapons to destroy a lot of those bunkers because they're so deep under the mountains. Iran is just all mountains, guys, okay? Nothing but mountains like Afghanistan, thousands of feet high, solid rock, and they have bunkers underneath those mountains. So the only way to take them out is potentially with low-yield nuclear weapons. And tonight, apparently 11 Russian Tu-95 strategic bombers have taken off from the Olenya Air Base that's in northwest Russia. So they could be launching missiles towards Ukraine sometime overnight tonight within the next 2 to 3 hours. Right now it's 11:04 p.m. Eastern time, so maybe around 2 a.m. Eastern time, the missiles would be either launched or maybe they would reach their launch point by then. And in the past week, the U.S. Navy, in coordination with the Philippine government, has reportedly begun the pre-deployment of support assets, including fuel from bases in the Pacific to former naval base Subic Bay in the northern Philippines in anticipation for the results of the Taiwan elections, which just started tonight, which some officials are worried may cause aggressive or hostile actions by China against Taiwan. China has already warned the Taiwan people not to vote for the front runner, and they said they're putting their military on high alert because if the front runner wins, they're going to potentially take action against Taiwan because the front runner is very anti-China and pro-independence. He's pro Taiwan independence, okay? And he's very popular there in Taiwan. And so China has already warned the Taiwan people not to vote for him. And they said they're putting their military on high alert. So it's possible, guys, that China could attack Taiwan as soon as this weekend, maybe even next week. Okay, once the results of the election come in and this new president gets elected, it's possible that China may just decide to attack Taiwan right away before he gets sworn in and before he can actually change anything and do anything. Okay, so we have to be on high alert, guys, because all these belligerent countries, these communist countries, the axis of evil, the new axis of evil, guys, the new axis powers, China, Russia, Iran, North Korea, Venezuela, all these countries are working together and they see our weakness. Now, we did show some strength last night, which I'm glad that, the Biden administration launched that very comprehensive operation on Yemen. I'm glad that they did that. They had to do it and they did it properly. They targeted, hundreds of different targets. It was a full operation. It wasn't some, half-ass operation. Okay, so I'm happy to see that. But a lot of these leaders, they still don't respect Biden. They're not afraid of him. And they're also afraid that if Trump gets elected this coming fall, that their window of opportunity may close because they know Trump is going to be really tough on them. And so they want to take action before Trump gets in power. Potentially. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud. That's something to consider. Okay, something to consider. We could see China do something as soon as next week, though. And this update was sponsored by My Patriot Supply. Guys, My Patriot Supply is doing a 25% off sale on their 4-week emergency food supply. And to get the deal, you have to go to preparewithNYPrepper.com. And again, that's 25% off of their 4-week emergency food supply. That's a $60 discount. And the food supply includes over 2,000 calories per day, up to a 25-year shelf life. It's packed into 2 rugged buckets and weighs 38 pounds total. Free shipping is included. And what's great about this is you have 4 weeks of food in just 2 buckets. You can easily put that anywhere. And if you have to bug out, you can easily throw that in your vehicle. Now, My Patriot Supply also has a general store where they sell pretty much any prepping and survival related product you could imagine. To get to their general store, you have to go to the My Patriot Supply logo at the top of the preparewithNYPrepper.com webpage. You click on that logo and it takes you to their general store, and you can see they have pretty much anything you could imagine. They have potassium iodide at a great price. I have a few of these. They also have survival bars, survival seeds, water filters, solar generators, anything you can imagine. So check out preparewithNYPrepper.com to get 25% off of the My Patriot Supply 1-month emergency food supply. The link is in the description below this video. And here we have an official press release from Taiwan, and They're saying here that 8 Chinese aircraft and 6 Chinese naval vessels were around Taiwan today, and they detected at least 2 balloons that flew towards Taiwan, okay, from 6 a.m. to 6 a.m. Friday to Saturday, January 12th to the 13th. And here they have a picture showing the locations of where these aircraft were. So you could see one balloon went to the north of the island, and one balloon went directly over, which is really interesting. Okay, so they're continuing to send balloons over Taiwan. They already sent a few over the island, I think 5 or 6 already over the island itself. And then here, down here, you can see where the planes were flying. Okay, 8 Y-8 ASW planes on the southwestern side of the island. I want to talk to you guys about this NOTAM that was issued for the Kwajalein Atoll. There's been a lot of people on social media talking about this, that the U.S. issued a NOTAM, a notice to airmen for the Kwajalein Atoll due to radiation hazards. And a lot of people are thinking that this could be a nuclear test that the U.S. is going to do soon in the area. And my thinking is that they're just putting this out there because of the radiation from the Runit Dome, which is a giant concrete dome that the U.S. made to contain all the contaminated soil from the nuclear tests on the Kwajalein Atoll. It's kind of like Chernobyl, basically, except it's on an island. And so my guess is that they put this NOTAM out because maybe pilots weren't heeding their warning that they have for the actual airfield over there. There's a warning that says, don't fly north of the airfield, the Bucholz airfield. Don't fly north because the radiation is extreme. So I think it's because of that dome. I don't think the U.S. is planning to do any kind of nuclear test. But here's the post that was causing a stir on social media. And you can see here, attention all aircraft operating in the vicinity of Kwajalein Atoll. For your safety, overflight of the island north of the runway is prohibited. This is considered a hazardous area with the potential for loss of life. All arrivals and departures make south traffic only to avoid extreme radiation hazards. Contact base operations. So they're just saying fly to the south of the island to avoid the radiation. I don't think they're doing a nuclear test, okay? And then here we have, for the actual Bucholz Army Airfield, they actually say on the actual information for the airfield, it says electromagnetic radiation may exist 24 hours a day within 5 nautical miles from surface to 30,000 feet. So they're just warning people, don't fly on the northern side of the island because your gauges could get messed up from the radiation and you could crash, okay? I don't think they're doing a nuclear test, but we'll have to wait and see. There was a Nuke sniffer plane that was moved to Australia. Here's the flight path of that Nuke sniffer plane. It first flew from Offutt Air Base to Hawaii, and then from Hawaii, it went down towards Australia, and it turned its transponder off somewhere just east of Australia. So this is interesting. It could be preparation for a possible nuclear test by Kim Jong-un, or maybe if they're going to do that nuclear test in Kwajalein Atoll, which I don't think they're going to do. Here we have some photos that were posted by Reuters showing the Israeli army with tanks on the border of Lebanon. Okay, here we have a Merkava battle tank. Here we have a trench system that was set up by the Israeli army right on the border with Lebanon. So I think that Israel and Hezbollah are going to go to war very, very soon. I think it's imminent. Okay, so get prepared, guys. And apparently, the Turkish Air Force carried out an operation against the Kurdish militants in the eastern countryside of Kamishli. They hit the Zarba oil station in the eastern Kamishli countryside, and they also actually targeted the positions of the Kurds. Okay, so Turkey carrying out an operation, and by operation, you know what I mean. I have to use that word because of the platform here. Okay, they flew over and dropped things, okay, on this oil station and also some Kurd positions. Apparently, 5 Turkish soldiers were killed in clashes with the Kurds in northern Iraq. And here we have a picture showing the Turkish operation on that oil station in northeastern Syria in the Kamishli countryside, the Zarba oil station. And we have some concerning information from the economic front. Citigroup is going to lay off 20,000 employees over the next 2 years. CFO Mark Mason said Friday the reduction comes after the company reported almost a $2 billion net loss for the fourth quarter of 2023, which was the worst quarter for Citigroup in 15 years, guys, okay, since basically the 2008 economic collapse. So our economy's not doing good, guys, okay? So make sure you're saving your money, paying down your debt. Make sure you have, at least a few months of savings in case you lose your job, so you have some money you can live off of. But that's the latest. But that's the latest information that I have. I will be back tomorrow with more breaking news. So make sure you're subscribed. Hit the notification bell below this video so you get notified when I post these updates. And until then, take care. God bless. And don't forget the 3 Ps: prepare, practice, and persevere.